And welcome in On the Go. You know, when people go on the go and travel, they'll a lot of the times want to go to a location. And one of the main things they want to see are historical things in and around a city or a community. We're very fortunate in Montgomery, Alabama to have Landmarks Foundation. It has done an excellent job in preserving things in the city of Montgomery and the surrounding area. Carole King, you're with Landmarks and you're with us today. Welcome aboard, young lady.
It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Good to have you with us.
We've been downtown at Landmarks for 50 years.
Isn't that amazing?
We just celebrated 50 years.
Wow.
Since 1971. 1971 is when we began our largest project at that particular point in time was the Ornament House.
Is that right?
And we've been involved in different types of historic preservation all around the city, specific buildings, historic districts. We were very instrumental in putting together what are now the city ordinances that oversee historic preservation in the city of Montgomery. We have 50 buildings, 6 blocks.
Wow.
So we put numbers on it kind of helps us.
Yeah, kind of like your hallmark is Old Alabama Town. That's where
Right.
most people, top of the mind when you say
Right.
Landmark, oh, that's Old Alabama. But you're much more than just Old Alabama Town.
Exactly, and that's what we're refocusing on. We've spent decades creating and putting together Old Alabama Town so we can talk about Montgomery's history and preserving those particular structures that tell the world about that. But we're looking at now, preservation in Montgomery, period. Preservation as an economic development tool, working with historic neighborhoods, working with some of the downtown businesses, and also making Old Alabama Town a living and breathing part of our community as well. How can we continue to use these buildings? We have buildings are 200 years old. Some of them are Lucas Tavern, anywhere from 150 to 200 years old, and it's like, they've got another 100 years. I mean, it's just an evolution of these buildings, and that's what we're reinterpreting our buildings to be able to tell the whole story of the buildings as well, not just the original or their very beginning, but what have these buildings been doing through the last 2 centuries, and how can we continue to revitalize them and to make them a part of our lives. We've added, of course, a lot of modern amenities. Of course, where they've got electricity, they've got restrooms, all that type of thing. So that's just the evolution of these buildings.
Well, you've got electricity and you've got restrooms in the neighborhood, but maybe not inside that house.
Right.
You're not going to find that inside the house.
We do 35,000 school children a year from around the state, and that, after pandemic, is starting to ramp up again too. We're very pleased about, because that's a very large income source for us. And we're fine-tuning our educational and our interpretive programs for individual visitors. We also are widening our offerings on our tour buildings as well. One of the things we've really been looking into recently is everybody's story. In our buildings from 1820s, 30s, 40s, we have the antebellum period we're talking about everybody. Expanding our research, because it's so easy to do in this digital age. It's a lot easier than it was when we were working on this, decades ago. We're really delving into the enslaved, their lives, what they did for the economy, for the people here. Who was it? Everybody, not just the ones we've previously done research about, but who actually were in these buildings and what was their
what was their whole life story?
What was their whole life story? Why were they there? What were they doing? And how did they contribute to the community at that particular point in time, and moving it on forward up into the 20th century, some of them, because our houses have so many stories to tell, and the people who lived there and what their contribution to the city of Montgomery was.
And you have a very unique store where you can buy a piece of history. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as we were doing our restorations, through our physical restorations on restoring these buildings, we were taking the newer things off of them. If we were working on, let's say, an 1840s cottage, we'd take off the 1920s light fixture, that kind of thing. And so, but there's really really neat things.
Yeah.
So we had a massive storage facility full of all these things we just took off. It's like, what are we going to do with this stuff? Because we were doing our restorations to the original or the authentic.
Okay, as close as you could.
As
Yeah.
close as we could with materials and all of our archaeological research and things like that. So we had this, like, well, let's share this. I mean, what are we going to do with this stuff? So we opened something called Rescued Relics. It's located at 423 Madison Avenue. It's part of a warehouse that we now own too, and it's part of our maintenance warehouse, and then we have Rescued Relics. And so we offer a lot of architectural salvage details for people to purchase and then include in their restorations. We have people come from all over the state looking for a certain light fixture.
Yep.
Or a certain mantle or a certain door type they're missing on their particular restoration that they're doing. So it's been very successful, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. We accept
And it's open
donations.
a couple of hours a day.
It's open 10 to
10
12.
to 12.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
Okay.
And we have a core of volunteers that operate it. So it's basically a zero overhead for us, and all the money that we bring in goes back into the maintenance of our buildings at Old Alabama Town. So we're always looking for salvage and people to help us.
Well, thank you so much. And if you want to get more information, what do our viewers need to do?
Well, you can check out our website, which is oldalabamatown.com or landmarksfoundation.com, or you can give us a call.
On the screen. Great.
334-240-4512.
And you'll get everything you wanted to know and more.
And more.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure because it's great. And remember this, on the go, you can have a lot of fun. Bring the grandchildren with you. It's a great way to teach them about history. And we'll be right back right after this.